Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politaris. For more information, visit BetrayaWealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
We got a call from one of our radio listeners a couple of weeks ago that just needed some help with some income, how to produce, how to generate, how to grow income in retirement. And it's a fascinating conversation, but I want to go even a step further than that. George, let's talk about the 3 pillars of a proper retirement plan. This is what you build for the families that you serve. So we start with income, protection, and growth. But I want to start with income. So talk to me about building income in retirement.
Well, when we sit down and do the Family First Retirement Plan, our job is you're getting a paycheck, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. How are we going to replace that paycheck for you and your spouse if you're married? And the customer that called in, the prospect that called in, Jim, he asked, how do I replace this money? I'm not working anymore, so how are we going to replace it? So the first one we talk about is our job is to give you 3, 4, or even 5 reliable, dependable, and I always think the most important word here is sustainable avenue of income in retirement. So you have Social Security. That's one avenue coming in. We look at the pluses and minuses, right? Because there is pluses and minuses to Social Security, especially with our programs we use, which is the Social Security risk analysis to see what the probability of you having a reduction of your benefit coming in 2033. If you're one of the lucky few in the world that still have a pension's from your job. So if you're a state employee, if you're a federal employee, some corporations still have them. Most, unfortunately, are getting rid of them. But that's another avenue of income. So there are 2 solidified places that we have streams coming in. And with the income, I want to live for the rest of my life. I want to live to be 80 years old, 85, Leslie, 90, 95. I want to make sure that that stream will never run out. So that's the first part of the income stream. And we talk about the retirement plan, the Family First plan. How are we going to get that? The 3-legged stool, you've heard of that, Mark, correct? Mm-hmm. So we have the income portion. That's one of them. And that income is made up of pension from one side. If we have them, if you don't, it's okay because we can work with what you have to get what you need. We have Social Security on the other leg. But the third one that you take into effect is from your 401k, your 403b if you're the schools, 457 for hospitals, and our federal employees, the thrift savings plan. Now, 1 second, I had to take a break here, Mark. If we have a federal employee out there, folks, state employees, you're unique. You're really unique how your benefits work. We just had a seminar last week with the unions for the Postal Service going over their benefits because it's such a different area. Most people don't understand it, but that's the thrift savings plan. So if you're a federal employee, you really need to give us a call, 302-330-2166, and let us help you plan for that because you're a different animal altogether in regards to how your benefits.
Different strategies for federal employees than...
It really is.
Okay.
So we have those avenues we just talked about. TSP, 401k, 403b, 457, your CDs, your savings, IRAs. That is the other threshold leg of your retirement and how we're going to make that work for you. So Mark just asked about how we're going to have income come in. And that's one facet of the income. But I love the movie, and Mark and I were talking earlier. Top Gun, Maverick, came out last summer. And your wife, like my wife, went and saw it. And there was a scene in the movie where she's drooling. And I had to kind of ask her, stop, I'm right here. You have filet mignon. Well, and you're looking at this steak over there.
In the original Top Gun, it was the volleyball scene. In Maverick, it's the football scene on the beach. Oh, yeah. All I hear.
And I got to be honest with you, I sat there saying, I used to look like that in my dreams.
You remember when we had metabolism? When I didn't put honey mustard on everything? Sorry.
Oh, my God. Yep. And dip it in gravy. So we look at that movie and how that is the risk because Maverick is a fighter pilot. And I have a customer, Mark, who just got relocated. He was out of Dover. He's a lieutenant colonel. He is now down in Tallahassee, an air base in Tallahassee. And ironically, he was a Top Gun. He was the guy flying circles and loop-de-loop. Now he's older. So now he's flying C-5s and commanding a C-5 wing. And what's the difference? C-5s are, they take the nice, long, steady course. They keep their avenue. They don't do loop-de-loops, right? So when we did his retirement, some of his retirement is into a safe C5, staying low, flying on the lines, being conservative, a fixed index annuity, because that's his safety net for everything else. But a portion of that money still has to be a jet fighter.
Yeah.
And that's the managed funds we're using. Because when we retire, does all of our money, all of our savings, all of our 401k, our CDs, our managed funds go into a safety net? Probably not. It shouldn't. And if someone's telling you put all this money into this safety net, into this fixed index annuity or an annuity, that's the wrong thing, folks,
Right.
in my opinion. Because we still have to plan for things going up. We still need some risk. We still want to be the Top Gun guy, even if it's in our dreams, but with our retirement money. So when we come in and we start to manage those funds for you, which we're going to do, you're going to have the opportunity to continue to get bigger, stronger, managed accounts, outperform the S&P 500 with less risk, and still do everything you want to. And when times go bad, back in March of 2020, who can remember how bad it was in March of 2020?
You know, it's funny, George, this time of the year, like on social media, like the Facebook memories pop up. It's fascinating to see what we were talking about 4 years ago this time. Like I recently, I think it was over last weekend, Vegas completely just shut down. And I had posted these pictures of the Strip completely empty, like a ghost town. I mean, talk about an unforeseen anomaly across the world.
And we sit there. It's funny how we let our government dictate, train us how to go to the bathroom in the corner of the yard if we're a dog. And that's what they did for a 2-week step back.
Yep.
But when we still have those episodes and you have managed funds, people lost 30, 40% of their retirement, of their managed funds. That fixed index annuity, guess what? It had a cape on it. It was Superman because it never lost a cent. And we could pull money from that if we needed it. Because you never pull money from a dropping account. It's double dipping the loss. But it's about having the diversity, to have the income. Because I think, Mark, you said a few weeks ago, we were talking about Titanic and how they get the check for the two older couple that were in bed. But he got that check every month, every year. They get that stupid check.
Yes, the actors that played the kids, they got that mailbox money.
Mailbox money, thank you. We can do the same thing with an annuity, but have control of when we get it, how much we get, and when we get it. And that's what you have to look at. So when you call us at 302-330-2166, we'll go over those options because you need that income in retirement. Just because you retire does not mean you died. Just because you retire does not mean you stop living. When you retire, now is the time to strive to do everything you've always dreamt about because you didn't have the time before, right? You're working, you're raising the kids, taking care of the family. Now's the time to be selfish, if just for this one moment, to be selfish and enjoy yourself. And that's how we're going to use the annuity to help offset that, along with the managed funds, along with Social Security, along with pension, along with everything else you have. That plan has to come together. And I'm using a lot of TV references today. The A-Team.
Yes, sir.
It's great when a plan comes together, isn't it? With the cigar. That's what we're going for. We're getting this plan to come together to make sense. The Family First Retirement is going to be that plan, Mark. It's going to show you where your income is today, where it's going to come from tomorrow, which avenue we're going to pull from. We're going to go over the expenses. Folks, worst topic I ever have with a couple is when we're talking about expenses. And the wife, I say, how much do you spend on hairdo dolly, I call it, the hair, the eyes? And the wife looks at me, whispers, says, can you please not talk about this? Or how much do we spend on golfing? And the husband's like, please don't talk about this. Expenses. We're going to address the issue about Social Security. And we're using our special programs to see what the probability about having a reduction is. And if I don't talk to you about taxes, I'm being remiss in my duties. If you're not hearing about taxes today and tomorrow, folks, please jump on top of this. Do not be a sheep. Be a leader. Be a lion. You got to be aggressive in this. You need to see how we're going to do that. Be proactive in planning for the taxes. Roth conversions. We got to discuss it with you. We have a customer, and they're a great customer, Jennifer and John, great couple. They have I'm going to say a first world problem. They have so much money in qualified funds that when they have to start taking money out of these accounts, we have a huge tax problem coming up. So we're doing steps today to be proactive, to legally and morally acceptable, reduce our obligation in the future by taking that obligation on now. But you have to plan for it. And if you're not talking about long-term care because you don't think it applies to you, that you're not, my kids are going to take care of me. Guess what? The kids, we love them. They love us. But let's plan on not putting the burden on them. Let's try and prepare for that for tomorrow. Don't be like Betty and Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let your children have to take care of you when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
They love to, they love you, but let's plan ahead. Let's be proactive. So our time with our children is going to be happy, not, oh God, what does mom or dad want?
Yeah.
It all starts with you calling us at 302-330-2166, going to Patria, Patria wealth.com, or better yet, driving down the road, stopping at 501 Silverside Road, Wilmington, 19809. Come in. The front door is always open. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let's have a cup of coffee, and let's just get an idea of what you want to do with your retirement, your dreams, your wants, your desires. And let's plan for it correctly. Give us a call, 302-330-2166.
We're always available at PetreaWealth.com. Not to mention, you get to see the big, fancy new offices of Petrea Wealth Group.
Yeah.
How's it going? All moved in? Are you comfortable? Because I know, like, if you know, when you move into a new house or a new office space, it takes a little while to kind of get your muscle memory down. How's it going in the new office?
It's going really well. And I got to be honest, you don't know Jared very well, Mark, if you say it's not all done yet. Jared is like the diva, I guess. Yeah. He moved into a new apartment, and I was away and at work down in Georgia with us. I got back, and he moved in on Friday. I got back Friday night, went over Saturday morning, and looked like he'd been there for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So the office is the same way, but we are still going. I still go to the same place our old office had things.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, I'm not supposed to go there. It's over. So it's a great problem. It's good. I love the space. And what's even more important, the customers love the space. So that's what this is about.
Beautiful. And that's something worth mentioning too. Yeah, it's not intimidating, because I think we've had this discussion before that a lot of people, when they come to sit down and start talking about a retirement plan, for some reason, like a lot of these offices feel like doctor's offices. They're intimidating. They're cold. They're white. There's not much as the music playing in the background. And I can say from personal experience, I've seen the office space of the Petrea Wealth Group very inviting, very comfortable, very loud all the time. You guys in the Petrea Wealth Group are
the big fat Greek family kicks through in every aspect.
100%.
When you come in here and you meet with Angie, I love her to death. God bless her. Achilles, Jared, and having Ernie Calais. Mm-hmm. And Ernie, we don't talk enough about Ernie. We mentioned him, Mark, but we have a strategic business partnership with Ernie Calais from Freedom Financial Capital. He's our CPA in-house. And I told you, every time he talks, I look at him like that rock star. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because he brings up a different avenue to see that. And that's what's so important. That's the tax planning process. That's the side that we're looking at, how to maximize our future, our benefits. You know, you worked really hard for 30, 40 years. I read a statistic, the average person works for 90,000 hours in a career. It's 40 years. You worked 90,000 hours. We're at this point where it's time to start taking money out, start going down the mountain. How are we going to stretch out those 30 years in retirement and keeping our money in our pocket? I love our country. I love the way my country is. We're blessed to be in this country. We see that every day. I don't really like the way the government spends my money, though.
Yep.
And this is a way, by being proactive, how am I keeping my money in my pocket and my family's pocket for as long and legally possible? And that's what Ernie brings to our group. And part of the Petrea family is how we're growing that and how we're making sure we have great problems in the future. Having too much money, who are we going to give it to? How are we going to spread it out? And how are we going to maximize all our dreams, wants, and desires? Give us a call at 302-330-2166, and let's schedule your no-cost, no-obligation meeting to get your family first retirement plan done.
Hey, George, I want to go back to something we were talking about earlier. We're talking about the 3 pillars of a proper retirement plan: protection, growth, and income. And you talked about Social Security as a form of income in retirement. And you mentioned the Social Security risk analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, give me some more details on that and how can it benefit me?
You know, we've all heard, and we've heard this for the last 30 plus years, that Social Security is running out of money. And it seems to be now that the rubber's hitting the road, so to speak, Mark. We were blessed to be part of this group that started working with this and being the guinea pig, so to speak, for the Social Security Risk Analysis Report. And what this does, if anyone listened to the Republican debates, and this was October, November, this came out, Chris Christie was still running for president at the time, and he's on the far left side of the screen. And the commentator asked, how would you solve the issue of Social Security? And what he came up with is means testing. And what's means testing mean? Well, they're going to dictate how much money do you really need to live in retirement, Mark? You know, you have a 401k, you have this managed fund, you have a CD, your life expectancy is maybe not too long, you're not healthy. So you don't really need this Social Security payment or as much as you're getting.
Right.
So they'll give you a probability of reducing your benefit you're receiving based on some numbers in this scenario. Now, when we do this report, folks, and this is in addition to the Family First Retirement Plan, but we use the data in the plan, the probability of you having a reduction is X. I'm planning for that in our reports. And for example, we used a gentleman, he was 63 years old. He had about 1.3 million in retirement assets. Mm-hmm. He had a high expectancy of life expectancy. His age group probability of having a reduction was 52%. His probability was 79 because of his assets. So when I did his retirement plan, do you think I put that in having a reduction?
Yes.
Have to.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I'd be remiss, right? Because I wouldn't be giving the proper information. And his reduction is $923 a month.
Shoo.
That's a lot of money.
A big difference. So
what happens is when we go through the plan, in 2032, his Social Security benefit is, just for simple math, is $2,000. Starting in January 2033, I took the reduction off of Social Security, so it has it going down. And when we sat down with him and his wife, when we talked about this, it's really a great question. He goes, so what happens if the government fixes it and it doesn't occur to me? Well, first off, how dare they ever think about the people sitting out here working every day? But let's say they do. So one or two things will occur. Either A, they don't do anything, and we've already planned for the worst case scenario. So we already planned for it. It's already in our plan. We know how we're going forward. We're good to go. But let's use his example. They do something for the people, and they fix the situation. What's that mean? It means you're in a better place. Yeah. You have more options. That's a good problem. But to sit there and think, oh, the government's going to take care of it. They're going to fix it. Or it's not going to happen to me.
Shoo.
Think about this. We talked about 2020 earlier with the stimulus money. How many people actually got stimulus money? Not as many as you thought. 42% of the population got $0. You might be one of that 42%. You were planning on getting it. You didn't get it. You managed. Same thing here. Let's take it. We're all adults in the room. That's one thing we talk about all the time. When you come into my office and we sit down, our first time you come in, Mark, it's a conversation. We're gathering data. You're meeting with Jared, myself, or Angie, or Achilles, and we're gathering data. We're seeing what you want to do, what you have, where you're going, what your dreams are, what your desires are, what our expenses are, all those fun facts. When you come back the second time, we're going to regurgitate all the information you gave us and get the reports in front of you, because retirement for so many people, Mark, is gray.
Yeah.
It's in our head. We have a spreadsheet, maybe an Excel spreadsheet. We don't really know the numbers to be true, like what they are. When you leave me, it's not gray anymore. I make it very black and white. Good, bad, or indifferent. When you're done with me, I don't sugarcoat it, folks. If there's something I can say I don't do well, I don't know if it's the right word, but I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not here to be like so many people today want to be their kids' friends. Mm-hmm. And they, oh, Jimmy, it's okay. Yeah. The teacher's always wrong. Right. All those type of people. That's not me. Ask Jared about that. Ask Alexander about that. That's not their father and mother. And I'm not going to be that way with you when I do your retirement plan. I'm here to give you the facts. Dragnet, Sergeant Friday, just the facts, miss, just the facts. I'm here to give you the facts. I'm here to use my expertise, my knowledge, my education to lay it out for you in black and white. So when you leave, you may be happy or you may not be, but you'll never leave here saying, why didn't George tell me this? I'm going to tell you, we're all big boys and girls. We're going to live that way, and we're going to get the information. You deserve the truth. You deserve the facts, and you deserve the education to be able to make the right choice for you, your family, and your children. Not try and wing it and say, oh, I'm going to go in the computer and do DIY. This is not changing the oil in the car. When I break my arm, I say it all the time, I'm going to the orthopedic to have them reset my bones. This is having an expert step up, give you the information, and show you options and opportunities to move forward. So when you come into the office, at 501 Silverside Road, or you call us at 302-330-2166 to schedule your no-cost, no-obligation meeting. We're going to start the process to give you the Family First Retirement Plan, to get you lined up and to help you be in the right place for tomorrow.
Investment advisory services are offered only through properly registered representatives of Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, which is not affiliated with Betrayal Wealth Group. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if George Politaris is licensed in your state, please contact his office. George A. Politaris is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and/or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through George A. Politaris, NPN number 175000473.